This is a stimulus update and daily news report. There is a lot shaking up the stimulus world right now. So with the infrastructure vote setback, looks like there's a new day that the Senate plans to have another vote. And I'll give you the latest details on the timeline and deadline. Also, Nancy Pelosi says that she will not vote on a bipartisan infrastructure package unless there is a human infrastructure package along with it. And the following week is when Nancy Pelosi and the House go on vacation. I'll give you all those details and play some video clips. Another state is going to claw back $350 million in unemployment benefits that they already gave out to claimants. And another state has a hearing today to give back the $300 per week unemployment boost, have that reenacted. I'll give you some other important updates regarding stimulus checks and other news as well. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. If you appreciate these fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. And I'm giving $200 to my subscribers, and I'll talk more about that later on in the video. But first, Stanford University reports 7 breakthrough cases of COVID-19 among fully vaccinated students. So this is a trend that I've noticed is happening a lot all over the world. So for example, in Singapore, vaccinated people make up 75% of recent COVID cases in Singapore, but few fall ill. So many people who are vaccinated are getting COVID, but it looks like the symptoms aren't as serious as other people, according to the sources here. So it brings up the big question though, why people who are fully vaccinated are getting breakthrough COVID infections. So what they're saying is that because the longer the virus is around, the longer it can mutate, and it seems that the vaccines aren't fully protecting people against the new mutations. Now, with all this craziness going on, Mitch McConnell warns of a COVID-19 wave like we went through last year without vaccination. So it looks like we could have another big potential 2020 where the economy shuts down, there's quarantines, there's lockdowns. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think it'll get that serious? Do you think this is just a small blip and everything will get back to normal? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Some are saying that will additional unemployment benefits be extended past September due to the Delta variant? So what it's saying here is pandemic-era jobless support has been criticized in recent months, but will the rising COVID-19 infection rate force Biden to extend additional unemployment benefits? As of now, the unemployment $300 per week boost is expiring September 6th, but because of the new Delta variant, new cases, higher rise in deaths, do you think that benefits will be extended? And also, not just unemployment benefits, but could there be more stimulus checks in a higher amount because of what's going on? We'll talk more about that later on. Next, since we're talking about unemployment, one state looks to claw back $350 million in unemployment benefits. So this is happening in North Carolina. So North Carolina is trying to get back $350 million in benefits that they mistakenly sent out. So what's happening here is North Carolina's unemployment office sent 117,000 people more benefits than they were due since COVID-19 pandemic began, and that's about $350 million in overpayments. Should the state have to claw that back, $350 million? Should the people accept it? Because they pretty much already spent it. If they're on unemployment benefits, most likely they spent it on rent, utilities. Should they be responsible to take it back? Should the state just leave it? What do you think should happen here? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. This isn't a mistake in just North Carolina. I reported on this last week as well, how Michigan mistake means up to 650,000 could be forced to repay unemployment benefits. So looks like this is happening a lot more government incompetence going on. It looks like they need to update their systems. It's very bureaucratic. They have computer systems from the 1980s and 90s. Definitely need to update it so they're not losing hundreds of millions of dollars. Next, in terms of unemployment benefits, looks like a hearing today on whether to restore $300 per week federal unemployment benefits in Ohio. So Ohio's the latest state that has the hearing, that has canceled the unemployment benefits, that's trying to get it back. So we're going to find out today whether or not Ohio is going to continue it. And it looks like a fresh stimulus check may be on the way thanks to your tax return. So if you file your tax return and your income changed, you could get a plus-up check. The IRS said this past Wednesday that another 2.2 million checks are going out this week. 900,000 of those are plus-up payments. So if you file your tax return, you're waiting and your income dropped compared to the year prior, then it looks like you could get a plus-up check. Also, it looks like the IRS is finally processing tax returns and sending out stimulus checks based based on that new information from the tax returns. Since we're talking about stimulus checks, let's talk about a fourth stimulus check. The $2,000 per month to every American petition is currently at 2,689,000 signatures. In terms of a fourth stimulus check, we're still waiting to get the word on that. Letters have been written to President Biden, even though it's not up to President Biden to issue a fourth stimulus check or not. Really, it's up to Congress. People like Bernie Sanders are the ones who are responsible for putting a fourth stimulus check into the American Families Plan, which is that human infrastructure reconciliation bill. If it's not up to Bernie Sanders, then and no one else could do it. It's really up to the more higher ups in Congress. So Congress, it's your move to get a fourth stimulus check. Speaking of stimulus checks, millions of Californians are going to get a $600 stimulus check from the state starting in September. So if your income is above $30,000, if it was below $30,000, you should have already gotten your first California stimulus check. Now the second round is from $30,000 to $75,000 as a single. You'll get a $600 stimulus check plus an extra $500 if you have any dependents. Now let's talk about what's going on in infrastructure, which never ends. Deadlines have passed. What's going on with that? So frustration builds as infrastructure talks drag. So frustration among Congress members or frustration among Americans? I think Americans are more frustrated than Congress members. They're kind of just taking their time. They have a nice sweet vacation coming up, which means that they're going to maybe working a little harder than normal. So basically what's going on, Chuck Schumer pretty much canceled the vote. So it was Republicans who were all against it. Democrats were for it, except for Chuck Schumer. He voted against the bill at the last minute, saying that he wants to have another vote in the future. Here's Chuck Schumer explaining more about what the plan is moving forward.
Last night, Madam President, the Senate took a vote on whether to proceed to a debate on infrastructure. Unfortunately, our Republican colleagues blocked the Senate from taking this first entirely procedural step. I understand that the effort to finish the text of the bipartisan bill has progressed since I announced this vote last week. The negotiators have made significant progress, but there are still some outstanding issues. Therefore, at the end of the vote yesterday, I changed my response to a no so that I may move to reconsider the vote at a future time. My colleagues on both sides should be assured. As Majority Leader, I have every intention of passing both major My colleagues on both sides of the aisle should be assured. As Majority Leader, I have every intention of passing both major infrastructure packages, the bipartisan infrastructure framework and a budget resolution with reconciliation instructions, before we leave for the August recess. I laid out that precise schedule at the end of June, and I intend to stick with it. A new report by the chief economist at Moody's, Mark Zandi, hardly a liberal economist, someone who actually served as an economic advisor to Senator McCain, concluded that both major infrastructure proposals are essential to maximize our economic potential. Not just one, both. And together, they would give a massive boost to the economy, ease inflation pressures, create jobs, increase productivity, and reduce income inequality. These are incredibly worthy goals, and the Senate is going to keep working on both tracks of infrastructure in order to achieve them.
So if you're wondering, when is this infrastructure vote finally going to happen? When are we going to see all the stimulus provisions in the reconciliation bill? I'm going to give you the timeline and deadlines in just a moment. But first, Democrats are not particularly pleased with the Senate infrastructure deal, but they'll back it anyways. So many Democrats aren't thrilled about this. I guess there's a lot of good programs, but they're not completely happy. So Ben Cardin is not particularly pleased. Kirsten Gillibrand has no reason to be against it, and Elizabeth Warren says she'll support it if it makes some people happier. So it's not like they're really excited about it, but I guess they're just doing it because they have to. A bill like that can't make everybody happy, but also someone like AOC, Blast Mansion for dark money ties, suggests he's intertwined with the Kochs. The Koch brothers were brothers, but the big company, the Kochs, have a lot of control over our government. the world in general. They're billionaires, or were billionaires, and basically AOC is saying that there's a lot of dark money going on in the infrastructure package that is kind of like kickbacks to a lot of Congress members, and called out Joe Manchin, which is probably true, and not just Joe Manchin, but a lot of other Democrats and Republicans who are getting kickbacks from this infrastructure deal. It's just kind of how our corrupt government works. But as far as the bipartisan infrastructure deal, may be in trouble over transit funding as another deadline looms. So what's going on here? Another bump in the road. So coming from a source of the GOP, transit funding remains one of the last unresolved issues. This deal is unlikely to happen unless Democrats get more reasonable on this topic. So it looks like the bill isn't completely finished yet. This article came out 3 hours ago on July 23rd, when the bill was supposed to be written by today, Friday, but although they said it was supposed to be ready last week and they were going to work on it over the weekend, so even though they said it was a shell bill that they were voting on, looks like there's still a lot of work going on behind the scenes, especially if they're still talking about how they're going to pay for something. Now, the deadline is coming up. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but Nancy Pelosi reiterates that no bipartisan infrastructure bill without reconciliation package. So she said this many times before. She said it again yesterday, saying, "We are here to get the job done. We cannot respond to some legislation until the Senate acts. And we will not take up the infrastructure bill until the Senate passes the reconciliation measure." So basically, what's going on here is Nancy Pelosi said the House, since she is the Speaker of the House, there's not going to be a bipartisan infrastructure vote, no matter how much they worked on it, unless there is the Human Infrastructure Democrat-only bill, which has all those stimulus provisions in it. She does have enough power to do this. Will it happen? Here's a video clip from Pete Buttigieg talking more about what's going to happen moving forward, and then we'll get into the deadline and timelines.
The vote, split down party lines, leaves the future of President Biden's two-track infrastructure plan in jeopardy. Joining us now, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. Very good to have you, Mr. Secretary. You tweeted the bipartisan infrastructure framework makes possible the safe roads, modern transit, and universal broadband that Americans are asking for. We cannot miss this moment. So how do we get to yes? How do we not miss this moment?
Well, it feels that things are still headed in a good direction. We're witnessing all of the procedural complexity of the United States Congress, and it can be messy. But over the coming days, feel confident of reaching the point where this can get to the floor. And the sooner this can get to the president's desk for signature, the better. You know, I've been on the road last week seeing firsthand the need in communities as different as a tribal country in Arizona and the south side of Chicago. And what every single part of this country has in common is seeing the immediate need to do more for transit, to fix roads and bridges, to do something for our ports and airports, to get lead out of our pipes, get everybody internet. People get it. There's a broad consensus, including among parties that are usually not on the same side. You know, today the president and the vice president are going to be sitting down at the White House with supporters of this package who come from the business leadership and business community and from labor, who are rarely pulling in the same direction. We got everybody from different building trades organizations to the Chamber of Commerce, the National Association of Manufacturers, all saying, let's do this. So there is a ton of positive bipartisan momentum for this. But as we've seen again and again in Washington, nothing moves in a straight line, and there are going to be more twists and turns to get this done.
So in terms of deadline and timeline and when things are actually going to be done, when are we going to see some action taken from Congress finally? So it looks like bipartisan infrastructure plan could get another chance after Senate setback. So it looks like the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan, which failed, could get another chance to move forward as soon as Monday. According to this article here, I've heard other people say Monday as well. So we might have to wait a couple days. Hopefully Congress is working hard over the weekend. Now in terms of deadline and timeline, if we look at this calendar here, so if we're looking at July, let me zoom in a bit. So July is right here. So we are July 23rd, we're the Friday. The House is off today, right? Because the purple is both House and Senate. The red is Senate, the House is blue. So it looks like the 30th. We have exactly 7 days before action needs to be taken. Otherwise, the House is going on vacation for the entire month of August, for 3 weeks of September, and won't be back until September 20th. So if no action or thing is voted on before the 30th, the House will either have to stay in session or no action will be taken until September. We haven't heard what they're going to do yet. They keep saying they're going to get it done, but literally this is the last week, the week of the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. If it's not done by then, or if the House doesn't vote on it by then it looks like it's not going to happen. The Senate is in session until the 6th, so the House could vote on it, and then the Senate could take an extra couple days. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but I'll keep you updated on what happens. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Victor Cruz says, I like your hair. What kind of gel do you use? I actually don't use any gel. Right before these videos, I just wet my hair, and it's actually just water. And then probably like 20 minutes after I'm done filming the video, it dries up. So I actually haven't used gel in about 10 years. Ayana B asked, what's the website for the free healthcare for the remainder of the year? So yeah, if you got approved for unemployment in 2021, if you go to healthcare.gov, you'll see there that you could sign up for free health insurance, and you get that for the remainder of 2021 completely free. Definitely take advantage of that and share that with people as well. Eric Hubbard asked, what site can people go to sign the petition? So if you go to Google and you type in change.org monthly stimulus check petition, it'll show up. It's really popular, over 2 million views on that. And then Hurricane Heather Evans asks, are the California folks getting $500 checks in August? So they're actually $600 checks. You get an additional $500 if you have any child dependents. If you don't have any child dependents, then you won't get that extra $500. So it's $600 for adults, and then $500 if you have a dependent. That is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully cheer you up a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, so my name is Bella. This is the tip of the day. If you make a mistake, then it's okay. You learn from your mistake, it makes you a better person. So it's okay. It's okay. We still love you. We like you a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned before, I'm giving out $200 checks to my subscribers. You have to be subscribed to this channel, and I'll have more details on what you have to do down in the description below. Just click the click more button and you can read exactly what you have to do. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day and have an amazing weekend. If you want to check out any of my other videos, you can click this link up here or this link down over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.